Motama. E.
Seseko Aswara Asu, Business Development Manager of London, Great Britain. Ube monyo ye kom, monyo recommitted. Ube mga ranega soble. Seseko Aswara, atuki mga kam, ajong bedebeju. Ube bota ko, ebe bota biso. Ebe kese nini. Seseko Aswara, ube monyo hayawere. Seseko Aswara, ajong be abengwere. Seseko Aswara, kose kwiragba hayawere. This is Emilia Ashu of London, Great Britain. Korenko, when piti. Okay, my friend, that's why I jump back. I want it. I open my door. I want it. My friend, that's why I jump back. I want it. My pension, I jump back. I want it. Mr. and Mrs. Agodi of Pectin, Cameroon. They've been in the country walk off. I got on that. When my summer, I am wearing a banquet. I got on that. I got on that. Masu Lucita of Great Britain. A Joe. I went to come for Orca meeting of UK. Man, petit. What about the song? I got on that. One bench I am going to Seseko Edwe Are of Para, Kilkenny, Ireland. They were not on the walk on. Of London, Great Britain. They've been let on the walk off. What's that woman and chocolate jungle? What's that woman and chocolate jungle? Yes, the woman and chocolate jungle. What's that woman and chocolate jungle? Malice the woman and chocolate jungle. Why, yes, the woman and chocolate jungle. And no one will be Mfongbe Stephen Agboreman of Chicago, USA. Ajo. Mfongbe Nelson Agbotowo of Great Britain. Ajo. Barangba Mawo. Mawia. 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 Bamosu Barangba Makam. Barangba Mawo. Dakwa Barangba Mawo. Mawia. Tabesonga Barangba Mawo. Mr. John Agbosangaya Grampomi, President of Paul Osonrewo Johnson, Bati, of a sing, Ekpe Professor, Ajo. Oh, swallow, swallow, oh, swallow, swallow,
I surrender my woman to my queen.
Suvero yere. Never in a country walk all.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this very special broadcast coming to you from ABS Africa Broadcasting Service. A very, very special day in the history of the Restoration Crusade for the independence of Ambazonia. Today, we come to you to listen to our new president, voted into office about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, talking about Marienta Njomia, the first lady president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. This is going down to history, ladies and gentlemen. From Ndele in 1954 to Foncha up to today, this is the first lady president we have in Ambazonia. It can only get better. We're believing strongly, ladies and gentlemen, this woman will show us, demonstrate to us what women are made up of. So tonight, we are going to listen to the president, Marienta Njomia. But before we get there, I'd like to thank you for joining the broadcast tonight. It's going to be very, very special. At exactly 8 p.m. Amber time, we will tune in to the president as she addresses us from London. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please, I will crave your indulgence to please go ahead, hit your share button. Let's welcome this president, this new president, in a very, very special way. Those of you who were disappointed yesterday, she wasn't able to come to you yesterday, I want to believe you are full with excitement tonight to listen to her. But for those of you watching by way of the social media, Facebook in particular, please do me the favor, do the president the favor by hitting your share button as you join. Let us have at least 2K, ladies and gentlemen. And one thing, let me remind you, we don't buy robots to watch us here. When we have one person watching, it is one person. If we have 5,000 watching, they are 5,000 people, real people. I am talking about Facebook alone. So please do us the favor tonight. Hit your share button. Let the world know. The First Lady of Ambazonia, the First Lady President of Ambazonia, is about to address every Ambazonian and the rest of the world. So please go ahead and hit that share button. Let us give her a befitting welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome all of you who are tuning in from Europe, the Ukraines, Poland, where we have quite a number of Ambazonian displaced or refugees in those two countries. And then all of you tuning in from Western Europe, Central Europe, including the UK, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the broadcast. And those of you from Asia, Singapore, China, the Koreas, thank you also for tuning in. And all of you tuning in from the Middle East, thank you. And the Far East, of course, thank you for tuning in. I can't thank you enough. I know that the overwhelming number of you are tuning in from the USA and Canada. Of course, South America too, including Mexico. Thank you for tuning in. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I like to see the numbers jumping on this screen. If you are already on the platform, go ahead, hit the share button, invite somebody from your group, your WhatsApp group, your Telegram groups, your Instagram groups, Facebook groups. Please hit the share button. Let them come from all the corners. Again, at the top of the hour, Madam President will be coming to you with a very, very special broadcast tonight. That speech probably will run for about between 40, 50 minutes around there, ladies and gentlemen. It's a live speech, and so I believe it will run around that time. Please hit your share button. I like to see the numbers jumping. The numbers are not jumping to my liking. Can I say within the next 5 minutes, at least 1K on my screen, Facebook? That is your responsibility. Do it, please. And also let me remind you that after the broadcast, the presentation by Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, another show will follow right after that. Mike Fusi will be hosting the War Zone. The War Zone is a new show premiering here on the ABS. That show will be coming to you every week on Wednesdays. Called the War Room. But tonight, there will be Mike Fusi and his panel will be focused on the president's speech tonight to bring you a little bit insight into that speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, do me the favor. The numbers are not jumping to my liking. Hit that share button. In the next 5 minutes, let's get 1K. We are over 400 gone. If you have just joined, please hit your share button. Hit your share button. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined with a panel here that will look into the president's speech and look at where we are coming from. Where we are coming from, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this has taken us a long time in coming to be where we are today. For the past 5 or 4 months, the interim government has been in disarray owing to the attitude of Samuel Ekomesako. All of you know that by now. I don't need to go into the details of it. But we got here through his shenanigans, his inability to respect democratic rule, ladies and gentlemen, democratic institutions in our struggle. This interim government is made up of structures, institutions, and some of those institutions include the Restoration Council of Ambazonia, which serves as the legislative branch of the government. Then we have the executive branch led by the president. Until 3 weeks ago was led by Samuel Ekomesako, whom we have now found out turned out to be not the man, not the brother, not the pastor, not the God-fearing man, not the God-appointed president or anointed president we all thought that he was. He has just shown us his real colors within the past 4 months. And for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, the Restoration Council impeached him and removed him. Of course, you all know he refused to go anywhere. As I speak to you, he is still out there touting himself as a president of Ambazonia. Of course, we have no doubt, in spite of his claims, he wakes up every morning knowing that he has been impeached and removed. I guess that is why he has now paid out there like they say, like Mbonga. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got here through Samuel Ekome Sako refusing to do his job, refusing to act as a leader, refusing, ladies and gentlemen, to solve problems within this interim government. And as you all know, they say that no one man is indispensable in this struggle, right? I was told that I am indispensable until the tables turn. The tables turned and Samuel Sako became dispensable. So, ladies and gentlemen, he violated the constitution of Ambazonia, created a pseudo of every structure that we have in this interim government. He has created a pseudo restoration council, giving it some funny name. He has created a pseudo cabinet. He has created a pseudo APP. He is creating pseudo counties and pseudo LGAs. I saw some text messages coming from their so-called cabinet forum, and they are out there lamenting. One of them listed all the people who have run, who have escaped, who have left them. He listed them, put the names, and she was wondering what is going on. These LGAs, what can we do? Why are the leaders leaving? They were lamenting in their cabinet, and I was just smiling. I said, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything. I give Samuel Ekome Sako 2 months. 2 months to keep on touting himself, parading himself as the president of Ambazonia. 2 good months, ladies and gentlemen. So that is what led us here. His inability to rule or to lead as a democratic leader, as somebody who understands democracy. We are running out of La République du Cameroon because they fail to respect all the tenets of democracy, ladies and gentlemen. We started this new country, restoring our country, electing a president, putting there to look out for every Ambazonian. Guess what? The man began to look out for himself. He began to look out for himself, forgetting every other Ambazonian out there. And so, the Restoration Council saw the need, coupled with all the corruption, the fraudulent practices, ladies and gentlemen, and the deals. He went into sign, purportedly for Ambazonia, actually signed them for himself, trying to trade Ambazonia for his personal gains. So, the Restoration Council looked at all of this and decided to impeach and remove him. But you know, somewhere Ekome Sako could have saved himself and saved his presidency if he had done just one thing. Just one thing. In fact, we will not be here today. If he had just done just one thing, agree to stand elections, agree to go for elections. I realize that my friend Sako has grown so pale, so pale. Some people say it looks like Njanga or Mbonga out there, ladies and gentlemen. He could have avoided that. The reason he gone so pale is because he has done the job, the job that he would have done for 4 years. I mean, he has done the job that was supposed to be done in 4 years in 4 months. In 4 months. I have never known him to be holding 5 meetings a day. I have never known him to be holding even 3 meetings or 2, maybe 2, but 3, 4, 5, no way, no way. And so I'm not surprised. He has lost so much weight and looking like a man who is just coming out of famine. But that is, unfortunately, he brought this to himself. So the Restoration Council saw the need to impeach him when he refused to submit to the oversight of the same Restoration Council. Fellow Ambazonians, we should know this. The Restoration Council plays a pivotal role in this struggle. You cannot have a government and not have some oversight over those that lead that government. That is the rule that the Restoration Council plays in this interim government. Of course, they have their own faults. They have their own weaknesses. But at least the institution works, ladies and gentlemen. The institution works. So, the institution, the Restoration, Samuel Sako would not respect our institutions, would not agree to stand election. In fact, he condemned the same Restoration Council that swore him in, gave him a 2 years mandate. He disregarded it. He told people that the mandate was till Boya. The mandate was till Boya. Come on, my friend. How could it be up to Boya? That means even when we realize that you borrow all our money, you swindle all our money, mismanage all our money, has no results to show for all our money, we should just be condemned to keeping you up to Boya. Is that what you really meant? Is that what you really meant? I think my friend Tita is better than you. At least Tita came in and realized that you couldn't do it. He quickly bowed out. Ladies and gentlemen. I like Tita. That's a Democrat. He quickly bowed out and said, I have to give it over, and walked away. He walked away. But Sako would just not walk away. But one thing is sure, ladies and gentlemen, you can believe this. Samuel Ekome Sako wakes up every day, and his mind saying to him, you have been impeached and removed. He wakes up every day thinking this way, goes to bed every night thinking this way, you have been impeached and removed. That little cryptocurrency circus that met in Washington, D.C. in the name of some ASSC2, ladies and gentlemen, they are not going to bail Sako. They will not bail him. I have given them 2 months. 2 months. You can go out and fabricate everything that you want to. Chris says he goes for federation, right? Chris says blah, 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 this and that. You can fabricate all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, it will not keep Sako over there on that seat. He is done and he is gone. We should be talking about our new president, Marienta Jomia. I am joined, ladies and gentlemen, by Comfort, who is joining me all the way from London. Comfort has known Marienta. Of course, they all live in London for a very, very long time. I would say she knows her better than I do. The first time I visited London during when this struggle began, it was the first time to meet Marienta, talk to her, and when I met her, I thought she was 25 years old. I was going by her size, by her look, and I thought, this is a little baby. But come to find out what that little baby, who is not actually a baby, was doing. I think Marienta is about close to 40 now. Comfort may correct me if I'm wrong. But I could not imagine, ladies and gentlemen, what she was able to do gathering Ambazonians in the UK to come together to that meeting. It was a rally. I think it was a Commonwealth rally that ended up with a fundraiser, and she was at the center of all of this. And she did a great job. She's since moved from there to becoming European coordinator of all Ambazonians in Europe. And before becoming the president of Ambazonia, she was also the Under Secretary for the Department of Education. This is the resume that she brings to table. I understand she also runs an NGO in London that caters for the needs of the underprivileged. In the days ahead, she shall be with me to really give us an elaborate question and answer on her person, on her activism, and every other engagement that she's been in throughout this struggle. But today, let me bring in comfort in to share with us what she knows about Marianta'S, the new president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Comfort, please. It's a pleasure to have you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Secretary Chris. I'm really honored to be here with you tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining me. Again, you have lived in London for so long and you have known the president, Madam Marienta, for quite a long time, in the course of this struggle. Tell us some of the things that you've seen her done in the UK.
All right. Thank you so much, Secretary Chris. It's such an honor that I am sitting here tonight to talk about somebody. It feels like talking about my own self because from the first day I dropped in the UK, it's all Marienta till today. Before I go ahead, I would say special greetings to you, fellow Ambazonians who are joining us live. Greetings to sympathizers of the Ambazonia War of Independence, and of course, our brothers and sisters on the ground on a place day. Greetings to you all. To begin with, Secretary Chris, President Marianta'S is a mother. She is a wife of and a mother of 4 beautiful children. And above all, Marienta is a science teacher teaching chemistry up to the high school level here in England. So Marienta joined the struggle in 2016 when the teachers and lawyers were humiliated on the streets while our children were raped and others forced to swim in sewage water in the University of Boya. And Marienta is one of the first and the most consistent persons when it comes to taking personal initiative to carry out diplomatic activities here in the UK. The very first time she heard about the rape and torture of our girls, which escalated even to the burning alive of Mami Api, she wrote a letter to her MP, Member of Parliament, and severally Marienta has had face-to-face meetings with the MP to educate her about the Amazonian plight. Apart from that, Marienta has been one of the founding members of the West Midlands Action Group. That was the ever first Amazonian group that was formed here in England, in Leicester, where Marienta lives. She was one of the backbones of that group, and they actually they carried out the very first public protest when this problem started here in England, and precisely in Leicester, where Marienta lives and where the group was founded. So at some point, most of the members of West Midlands Action Group, they ganged up against and bullied her, Marienta. But here, Marienta remained resolute, and she would let Ambazonians know that she heard the voice of God calling her to fight and liberate her people. So she would not ignore that call for mere attacks and smear campaigns from fellow Ambazonians, right? So Marienta finally joined the Southern Cameroon's Community UK and continued with the rest of the team to organize and stage protests on occasions like the Commonwealth Day and many more occasions. So the mother in Marienta, Secretary Chris, I would tell you, the mother in Marienta is so Ambazonian that the day Sisiko, that was Sisiko's second visit here in the UK, Marienta had to rally her family members, her mother and auntie and everybody, and they prepared sumptuous, delicious, expensive meals to feed Sisiko and his entourage, right? So Marienta equally has always prepared packed meals and bought water to feed and hydrate Ambazonians on the day of their demonstrations here in London. Most of, if not every time we meet in London, Marienta would have a small package for us. So she's always been a mother, right? So here Marienta is not just a mother as we see her and we say, but she has a humanitarian heart. Like you rightly said earlier on, Secretary Chris, Marienta founded a charity called Friends of Southern Cameroons. And this charity has been raising funds and assisting with the Ambazonian humanitarian needs. She has offered financial support to many groups here in the UK. Like you rightly said, she will come up and say more by herself so that we know, we hear from the horse's mouth. Iya Marianta has been the coordinator and the backbone of the Unmask project, which is aimed at sensitizing non-Ambazonians around the world about the genocide in Ambazonia and to raise funds equally to support our refugees, our IDPs, and the Ambazonia prisoners of war. So, Secretary Chris, if some people say that Marianta is a dynamic person, personally, I'm still looking for another adjective, maybe to add more meaning to what dynamism means, to describe her in my own words. This is because, in spite of all you have already heard that Marianta has been doing, we have already heard, right? Marianta has also occupied many leadership positions in which she has been doing well. She was the chairperson of the European country coordinators and also the chair for the country and regional coordinators. It was during her jurisdiction, during her mandate, that the three different conferences took place in here in Europe, namely the Ambazonia Strategic Stakeholders Conference in Berlin 2019, Sweden 2019, and Essen, Germany again of 2020.
Yeah,
They were well
in
organized.
fact, you are very correct. Almost every event I have, I mean, all of them, every
Yes,
event I have
yes,
been to in Europe, whether in Sweden,
yeah.
in Germany, in London, she leads
She
the
has
way.
always been there. Yes. So let me round up. Let's just know, let Ambazonians know where we are coming from, because we've got to that extent where we need to ask questions. And if we see some questions coming, we want to answer them to save time, right? So apart from what I am saying, all of these things, Marianta equally has been the Undersecretary of State of the Department of Education and Strategic Planning under the defunct President Samuel Ikome Sako, and she was equally the president of the Southern Cameroons Community UK, as she is right now planning to cede power to the next person so that she can now concentrate on bigger assignments on behalf of the nation of Amazonia. Right. So it's a long list, Secretary Chris. And there is an adage in my language that you should not, you, Secretary Chris, and Ambazonians should not underestimate a Muslim because of their size. So for
A
those who see,
Muslim because of
yes,
their size.
yes, you not just see a Muslim because they are tiny and dry. You underestimate them and
Not
think
all
that this one not
Muslims
fit
are
do
tiny,
anything.
although, or dry. No.
Well, it's an adage. It's
Okay.
an expression in my language, right?
All
I'm
right.
just trying to do a kind of
I
yes.
get it.
So for those who see Marianta with their naked eyes as a small person, the amber spirit in her is a giant one, and she is capable of taking us to the next level with our quest for the total restoration of our independence and dignity. So all she needs now from all Ambazonians and sympathizers is our support financially, morally, and spiritually. And of course, if Ambazonians must know before I hand over to Secretary Chris, Marianta and her husband, who is a career man, and her four beautiful children, they live in their own mansion here in England. So they don't need rents because they have a house of their own. And the husband is a career person, Marianta is a career person. So I think this serves us really something. So once
All
again,
right, hold
Secretary
on
Chris,
there,
thank
hold on
you.
there, ladies and gentlemen. We are about hitting the top of the hour. We cannot start this address from Madam President without me seeing 1K on my screen. Right now, I see 824. Please,
Share,
in the
guys.
next 2 minutes that we got left to the top of the hour, those of you who have just joined Facebook, please go ahead, hit your share button. Let those out there know Madam President Iya Marianta Jomia is addressing the nation. Please, within the next 2 minutes, let's hit 1K while she comes up at the top of the hour. Thank you. Please go on, Comfort.
Oh yes, I was just saying. I think I was rounding up by with the adage that you don't underestimate a Muslim because of their size. Marianta is physically small, but the spirit is a giant one, and if we rally behind her, we support financially, materially, morally, and spiritually, then she is taking us to the next level. As I say, oh, before we, this is important, Secretary Chris. Marianta and their family and her husband and family, they own a house of their own. Both of them, they do work, so that one is not on our shoulder. Every little dime we collect here, we will not pay rent for a president. We will not buy food. We will not, children will not come knocking that Papa never buy bread today. Thank you. And once again, congratulations, Iya Marianta.
All right, thank you, thank you. And you know that her mother is one of those I have met. I see those numbers jumping. Yes, thank you. Please, you have just joined. Hit your share button. Hit your share button. Let's see 1K within the next 1 minute. While the speech comes on, why I bring on the president. Please hit that share button. But Comfort, I was about to say, I have also met her mother. In fact, her mother took me out for lunch. My first time in London. Let me tell you something that she doesn't know, Marienta doesn't know. Some people told me, don't allow that woman take you out for lunch. You know how people get so protective.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame them, though. I don't blame them. They were just trying to protect. It was for my own security. They said, don't allow that lady take you out for lunch or whatever. And I just listened to my guts. The spirit within me, and I said, forget about it. I knew Marienta very well. She was the one who essentially was taking care of arranging everything for me in London. And the mother is there saying, hey, please, you are one of my, I am one of your staunch fans out here. I really like to have dinner, lunch with you. It was lunch. And I couldn't say no. And she was wonderful. She was marvelous. She loves Ambazonia. She fights for Ambazonia. I cannot count how much money she has personally from her pocket sent out to the fighters on ground zero. I know it because I know she has sent thousands to Field Marshal in the BLM. And so I'm saying this to say that this is a family that stands for Ambazonia. This is a family that stands for Ambazonia. Go on, please.
Yes, one thing, Secretary Chris, about Marianta's mother, about Marienta is that, and at this struggle in general, apart from us who sit here and talk, people know us because we do talk. The real people who do stuff in this struggle, you don't know them. You don't even see them. Marienta is just popping up now from nowhere because nobody ever knew. People did not know her that much because she is always that busy. The mom will give and give and give and give, but you will never know. That is the struggle for us. You know that times like what people are doing with us out there now, they'll do caricatures and so on. They are just idle. They have nothing to do. But the real people who have Ambazonia at heart, they don't even know how to log in on Facebook. They don't know how to use Facebook, right? So that is the spirit, Ambazonians. If you have homeland in your heart, you will not have time to go doing those things. You will not even have time to rush, go gossip when you have not done your due diligence of finding out who is this person, you know, and things like that. But we are really happy to be where we are. And I believe, Secretary Chris, that as a team, we will take it to where it's supposed to go, the right direction, and homeland is ours. That's what I believe so strongly in my heart.
All right, Comfort, please stay put out there. We will resume this pre-speech analysis right after the speech itself, before we hand over to Comrade Mike Fusi at the top of the next hour. So don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I ask you, go ahead, continue to hit your share button. It is not 1K yet. I want to see 1 and the letter K in front of it, and then I bring in the president. So let me do this. I'm going to take a brief break out, and when I am back, the president, Madam President, will be addressing all of you out there, ladies and gentlemen. So please stay tuned. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Continue to hit the share button.
Have you been thinking of a career in IT? DevOps Engineering is the course for you. CS Academy is offering a 6-week DevOps engineering course that will prepare you for a lucrative job in the IT field. Do you know that an entry-level DevOps pay starts from $90,000 to 6 figures? And the good thing is that you don't need any degree to enroll for the course. Enroll today. Training starts on Friday, March 25th, 2022, and admission is going on right now. Log on to csacademy.us to learn more. Contact us at 832-387-1460.
Our classes are live online, interactive, and instructor guided. Training holds only 2 times a week, Friday and Saturday evenings. Sign up today to secure your seat, or call now and talk to us.
Again, the number is 832-387-1460.
Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day. On Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken. Would you pay $1,000 to advertise on TV for 1 hour per week for 12 months or for a full year? You pick a day. On Sunday or Saturday. ABS knows Africa and have a viewership that covers it from Cairo to Cape Town. Call us today to find out more about this offer. Your ministry, church, business, nonprofit can benefit from this. Call us today before the spots are all taken.
Lord.
here today to create a better future for Ambazonia. Maya Angelou, beloved poet, American civil rights activist, and author of the book, I Now Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, which I am currently reading, said, "Nothing will work unless you do." I hope these two statements will serve us well as we proceed in our quest to liberate our homeland. Fellow British Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, you have elected me to lead the liberation struggle at this critical moment on a transitional mandate of 6 months. You have chosen me to quench the storms that have characterized months of internal conflict within our interim government. You have mandated me to reinvigorate the liberation struggle, especially in Ground Zero, that has been the major victim each time the diaspora base of our IG is under distress. I cannot do this without your support, assistance, and commitment. I count on every one of you to undertake this task, and I pledge to do so without favor or fear for Ambazonia. The recalibration team of selfless patriots has worked tirelessly in the past months to ensure the pioneer APP body, which was constituted after the ASSC Berlin 2019 conference, remains the legitimate body to manage the affairs of our counties and LGAs in the persecution of our liberation struggle. I would like to thank the Restoration Council, all Ambazonians in the diaspora, Ground Zero and Ground One, for your warm welcome and messages of congratulations on my role as a President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Your enthusiasm, hope, and words of encouragement offer the reassurance that collectively we can and we must engage proactively to pilot our God-ordained liberation struggle. It is an honor and a privilege for me to serve the land of my birth, Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Please join me to observe a minute of silence in honor, respect, and pride of the fallen heroes that have left us prematurely. May their souls rest in peace and power. Amen. In my inaugural speech of Saturday, the 5th of March 2022, I pledged to address the main issues related to the just-ended constitutional and leadership crisis, as well as the questionable conduct, controversial activities, and flawed management of our liberation struggle by the former impeached President, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, and most especially the immediate way forward packaged into the IG recalibration for Ground Zero strategy that will set the pace for an accountable management of our liberation struggle, with absolute priority to Ground Zero. Dear Ambazonians, we have been drilled for the past years by the previous administration with talks without action, to the extent of gradually transforming the working sessions of our liberation struggle into a preaching sermon, to solicit offertories for undefined and unmaterialized projects. Hence, the desperation and disappointment of many of you in the unproductive modus operandi and self-defense inertia of the previous administration. In this, I say we leave all that in the past and build a new future for Ambazonia. A future where every Ambazonian, be they refugees or IDPs, can be proud to have brothers and sisters in the diaspora who show care and love for them. Show that they put them first. So moving forward, fellow Ambazonians, I crave your indulgence to recalibrate our mindset to that of being our brothers and sisters keepers, to that of being patriotic warriors, to that of being bold and strong in asking for complete transparency and accountability from ourselves and the leadership. To this end, I am happy to inform all Ambazonians that despite the fraudulent and unconstitutional attempts by the former impeached president and his cabal to usurp Ambazonian resources or hijack Ambazonian institutions, we of this new leadership have been working round the clock on 6 recovery missions. Your county and LGA funds in the National Treasury, your funds reconciled in the CID platform, the People's ABC Amber TV, which you have been funding for the past years, the IG official website, ambazoniagov.org, the Unmasked program for the victims of the genocide war, and the IG representation in ACT, the Ambazonian Coalition team. We have activated all administrative, technical, and legal tools necessary against the fraudulent and illegal usurpation of IG institutions and working platforms by the former impeached and removed president, Dr. Sako, and his cohort. We will not spare an inch to safeguard complete recovery of these resources that belong to the people. It is very unfortunate that the insecurity in Ambazonia, originating from the genocide war declared on us by La République du Cameroon, has impaired the right to education for our children for the past 4 years. As a mother and a professional in the field of education, the pain arising from our kids not going to school under safe conditions is more and more unbearable. Baby Caroles and baby Brandy were both caught in crossfire in itinerary between home and school. The interim government fully stands to foster child education under safe conditions. Hence, we will continue to work with the international community and the international institutions that be to ensure they uphold both the responsibility to protect and the right to child education through international punitive measures that will pressure La République du Cameroon to demilitarize the territory of British Southern Cameroons, and the effective sanctioning of a conducive schooling environment through the establishment of buffer zones throughout Ambazonia for our kids' education. Our vision, mission, and commitment during this 6 months transitional leadership period will be to work together to ensure that the modus operandi of this interim government is recalibrated to defending the values of justice, unity, and democracy as prescribed in our constitutional arm of code, respect of the Constitution, building robust institutions, leadership for, by, and with the people, hence a leadership answerable and accountable to the people. Prioritize our resources to defending the lives, dignity, and integrity of all Ambazonian citizens. We will work on sustaining all Ambazonian restoration fighters with track record of fighting the enemy, La République, and disincentivize the infighting amongst them. The institutions of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Every successful democratic government owes success to the structures that are established to provide the foundation on which that government is built. One of the attributes of such a structure is that which allows for the autonomy of the main arms of government, being the legislative, executive, and the judiciary. The autonomy of the three arms of government allows for checks and balances between the various arms of government, as called for in our Constitution, and this helps to prevent the abuse of power, cronyism, corruption, and other negative vices. It is rather unfortunate that the previous administration took deliberate steps to undermine and weaken the structures of our government on which our democracy rests. I pledge to strengthen and protect our Constitution and government institutions, such as the Restoration Council, the Judiciary Council, the Ethics Committee, the National Audit Committee, and the Office of the Comptroller General, and to allow for transparency so that every department and/or government official, including myself, will be held to the same standard of integrity and justice. 60 years and counting, Southern Cameroonian MPs and senators have been stepping stones that La République du Cameroun uses as proxy to access our territorial space. Calls for them to back out of La République du Cameroun houses have fallen on deaf ears. Maybe the elimination of Mbandam and Honorable Kemendi by La République du Cameroun can serve as a pointer to the fact that they are not part of La République du Cameroun. It is never too late to do the right thing. Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians continue to call all MPs and senators to desert La République du Cameroun houses and come back home. Let's join hands and push out the occupier from our land. The illegitimate military occupation of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia by La République du Cameroun forces is aided by proxies amongst us. That's the enablers, the blacklegs, and the sellouts. All facets of La République du Cameroun military is an alien force in our territory. Culturally and linguistically, we are different people. Without proxies amongst us, La République du Cameroun have no leverage to fight Ambazonia even for 1 year. Can all Southern Cameroonians come to the realization that we are one people, one nation, and fighting for one liberation struggle? All Southern Cameroonians. Anybody of Southern Cameroonian origin helping La République du Cameroun directly or indirectly to kill us and destroy our land, we urge you to stop now. Going forward, if we observe that the proxies are still helping La République du Cameroun to access our territory and kill our people, the IG will be forced to launch Operation House Cleaning to reject and to eject this unpatriotic behavior in efforts to free our homeland. It is 2 years and counting after the sham general national dialogue, call it monologue, took place, and nothing to show for it. You have failed House of Chiefs, failed regional conciliators, failed resolutions. A smokescreen hurriedly put in place to perturb an internationally mediated Swiss process. Ambazonians once met in Fombat in 1961 and arrived at a gentlemanly experiment, sitting on a round table as nations with equal status. Shockingly, a group of overzealous people, aided by France, reduced them to a special status in broad daylight. It is only in La République du Cameroun where we have seen a political madness tailored by a foreign country called France. To Paul Biya and his rogue regime, how many signs do you want to see that Southern Cameroonians have rejected any internal solution. Do you want our sons in primary school to remind you that Southern Cameroon has internationally recognized borders and was the first democratic country in sub-Saharan Africa from 1953 to 1961 and by extension to 1972? Do you want our daughters in kindergarten to refresh your minds that we opted out of the Enugu Parliament in 1953 without fighting a war? 60 years is not a long time to forget so soon. That we joined La République du Cameroun, we did not join La République of Cameroon on a special status. We were a nation managing our own businesses. History has not forgotten that Buea was the capital of Southern Cameroon. There was Mount Fako, not Mount Cameroon. There was Victoria, not Limbe. There was Powercam, not Sunel. There was Snake, not Camwater. There was Southern Cameroon Lottery and not Tycel. There was Southern Cameroons and not Northwest or Southwest. Mr. Biya, you and your cabal have dismembered the territory of Southern Cameroon. Do not forget, it is not bare land that anybody can just move in and out of. It is a people with a culture and an identity. These people, my people, our people, will fight to push you out. We say no to assimilation, no to black-on-black colonization showing its ugly face in Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia in the 21st century. This 2022 is preeminently the time to speak the truth to our suffering people on ground zero. I mean, the whole truth. We must speak frankly without deceit. No need to shrink from honestly facing the problems of some of us in the diaspora created on ground zero. Our suffering people will no longer endure as they have done in the past. We will revive ground zero and make it ungovernable for La République du Cameroun. So permit me assert my firm belief that after all the bloodshed on our land, that the only thing we may fear at this stage is only fear itself. Our greatest primary task under this leadership is protecting our vulnerable people on ground zero, while making every county ungovernable for the enemy, from Fako to Dongamantum. This can be realized in a couple of months if we face it wisely, tactically, and courageously under the recalibrated strategy embraced by this interim government. It can be accomplished in part if those of us living comfortably in diaspora start treating everything as our suffering people on ground zero would treat any emergency they face on the ground. I am calling on every Ambazonian, friends, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, to make our ancestors proud of us for striving to defeat neighboring La République du Cameroun in this war they declared on us. We must stop any leader trying to enrich themselves with any penny, any dollar contributed to persecute our liberation struggle. We must do the right thing, which is protecting our vulnerable people on ground zero and taking back our country in the shortest possible time by any means necessary. We must succeed in paying minimum monthly upkeeping appreciation to any valiant brother or sister that's willing to use their innate talents and abilities to defend homeland, and not paying any one of us living comfortably in the diaspora as we have done in the past. Hello, Ambazonia. Let's get a job now, all of us. Our people are suffering on ground zero. I am a strong Ambazonian woman, just like my fellow valiant sisters on Ground Zero. Permit me borrow a quote from Sojourner Truth, an American abolitionist and women's rights activist born in slavery in Rifton, New York, United States of America. I quote, "It is the mind that makes the body. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. A good number of my Ambazonian sisters and brothers, both on Ground Zero and Diaspora, will get it right and get it right side up again for the sake of our children being murdered by La République du Cameroon. My dear sisters, the mothers, please join me to commit to undertake this noble patriotic mission of Ambazonian statehood restoration for our children and prosperity. We say no to any form of gender division fueled by any group of female renegades running around under the umbrella of fighting for women's rights, when La République is killing both our men, women, and children indiscriminately on daily basis. I am a feminist myself, yes, I am, but I refuse to focus on misplaced priorities. Ambazonians, under the extermination of La République du Cameroon, no matter the gender, they are being killed. We rise and fall together with our brothers. We now got our valiant sisters stepping up to defend homeland on the ground and providing intelligence when needed, while some women amongst us in the diaspora spend time playing politics in the name of Ambazonian women. Like, seriously. I would like to call the attention now to all Ambazonian activists and revolutionists. We appreciate the laudable job you are doing for the struggle and pray you muster more strength and wisdom for your actions and the words you pronounce. There might be some things you do or say that can rather destroy than advance the cause of our liberation struggle. So I will plead with you all to be vigilant, respectful, and professional every time. Raining insults, castigating, bullying your own fathers, mothers, uncles, aunties, brothers, sisters, some of our elderly in this liberation struggle. Even if they are at fault, you can bitterly criticize them, condemn their actions without insulting or castigating their persons. That is not the culture of true Southern Cameroonians, who have been respected from time immemorial as being well-groomed and respectable people. Think of the fact that what some of our elderly, like late Pa Litumbe and others, were still capable of doing in their 80s and 90s. For this, our liberation struggle is what 100 young people who keep insulting such elderly today put together will not be able to accomplish or achieve. It is time to stop these distasteful insults that don't take us one step forward, but draw our liberation struggle many steps back instead. Maybe we forget that what we spend hours vomiting out there on social media is not only watched by Ambazonians, but also by an audience around the globe who get turned off by their distaste and withdraw the sympathy and look at us like ill-bred jokers. Despite all the attacks President Trump had from critics, hardly did you ever find any of his people spend time insulting his person than his works. We need teenagers, youths, older ones, the elderly. This liberation needs all of us for this struggle to move successfully, because there are things one group, especially our elderly, can know and handle better than the other groups. No country has ever been run exclusively by only one set of people, one set of age group. No, it doesn't work like that. It's only a mixture that enhances the productivity. My dear beloved Ambazonians, brothers and sisters, this IG is a people's government and must grow strategically to meet any internationally prescribed criteria or quality that will accelerate the pace of our liberation struggle. We will, therefore, with your consent, be open to building bridges through unity, collaboration, and reconciliation with all Ambazonian movements and entities that stand for the total and unconditional independence, restoration of Southern Cameroons, and that possess the verifiable track record of fighting the enemy, La République du Cameroun, diplomatically, in self-defense, and by advocacy. To our brothers and sisters constituting civil population on ground zero, this is our liberation struggle in which our own children have taken the challenges to put their lives in the front line to defend the ideology of a free Ambazonia for us all. Please, we must be the protectors against any enemy manipulation or collaborate with them. We must collaborate with them on this patriotic mission that they have embarked upon. The enemy is La République du Cameroun regime, the Bulu Betty genocidal military squad that is on a mission of extermination of our origin, not our own brothers or sisters with whom we can always disagree to agree for the sake of liberating homeland in the quickest time possible. The cost of this war waged on us by La République du Cameroun has seen our people, men, women, the elderly, the children, including newborn babies and infants, flee their land to seek refuge in Nigeria, Ghana, and many other countries around the world. Over 500 villages have been set ablaze by the government forces of La République du Cameroun, with people burnt alive in their houses. There are over 500,000 refugees in Nigeria, in camps where basic sanitation and feeding are just still a luxury. These camps have seen good numbers of refugees struck off the UN benefits list due to insufficient funds to keep up with the stipends, which have been irregular in payments. There are so many Ambazonians still trapped in forests in our homeland whose survival is left at the hands of nature. Over 1.5 million people internally displaced, and the number of deaths recorded is over 35,000. The arbitrary arrests and detention has resulted to over 10,000 people languishing in prisons around La République, including the Naira 10. The peculiar problem consistent amongst different groups of victims is hunger, starvation, lack of money for medical care, no shelter, no beds. The Department of Health and Social Services, HSS, has been working tirelessly, stretched beyond its limits, but refused to break to meet the basic survival needs of these, our brothers and sisters, and to give them hope of our dream of a free Ambazonia that will certainly come to pass. The pain of many of our people, the pain that they're going through is unbearable. This government is committed to elevating the pain and the suffering through our continuous moral, financial, and spiritual support, as what will see them and us through. I would like to use this opportunity to acknowledge the work done by the Department of HSS and all of you, especially the trustees and donors of my charity, Friends of British Southern Cameroons. the Southern Cameroon's Women UK, Sky Italy, Omega Fire Healing Ministry, led by Reverend Akaya, Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, California, Ma Helmina and her congregation, countries, regions, counties and LGAs, just to name a few, for your consistency, and all individual donors, all of whom have sacrificed time and money to ensure that the basic needs of our people are being met. The success was a result of a collective effort, and I look forward to working with you all as we continue our journey to Buea. My fellow Ambazonians, my fellow ARF, my fellow self-defense team members, I would like to take this opportunity to commend the great work you have been doing that has taken us where we are in this liberation struggle today. I would also like to give my special recognition and thanks to FMA, the Field Marshal of Ambazonia, Field Marshal Isibu, Field Marshal Tenkobo, Okpao, Njomio, Njomi Tayete, FM No Pity, Grandpa of Bali, General Okoru, all the generals, commanders, and the full soldiers that are taking the risk every single day to defend homeland. 21 gun salutes to my Indian County FM 10 Kubu and your team for the spectacular and powerful brave action you carried out to welcome and congratulate me on my new role as the President and CIC. Special thanks to all those who have been working behind the scenes to support our ARF. There will be no struggle by now if it wasn't for your sacrifices. Despite the challenges, you have not given up on the quest of statehood restoration for our motherland. You and I can agree that there is a lot of work to be done so far. As far as self-defense is concerned, we know the challenges, we know the difficulties some of you face in the hands of La Republique's agents who pose as ARF, and some ARF who have gone out of the creed and the ground rules to cause pain and harm on genuine Ambazonians. So far, we have been able to make ARF a household name in Ambazonia. The world knows what is expected of them because of their creed and ground rules and rules of engagement. Our ARF are now masters of local manufacturing, making it impossible for La Republique to come and go as they will in many LGAs. Going forward, I would like to see a more robust local manufacturing, which will incorporate modern technology to eliminate or reduce the number of casualties on the ARF and take the war to La Republique safe havens. I have already started my consultations with the self-defense leadership in the DSS, ANSC, and the LGA to find ways to better deal with the problems affecting the effectiveness of the ARF and their well-being as well as their families. My administration will be devoting up to 90% of the resources of this struggle to ground zero. While we do this, we will not lose sight of some who are using the name and title of ARF to do harm to Ambazonian citizens. Those fighters who have abandoned the enemy and turned their weapons on their fellow ARF will be dealt with accordingly. We will prioritize our resources to defending the lives, dignity, and integrity of all Ambazonian citizens. We will work on sustaining all Ambazonian restoration fighters with track records of fighting the enemy, but will strongly disincentivize criminal acts such as sexual abuse of our female citizens, abductions and ransom taking, and infighting amongst Ambazonian restoration fighters. We say no to that. It is time for us to come together and fight the disease that has been affecting our abilities. When I say we, I mean the ARF, the civilians on the ground, the stakeholders in the diaspora, the members of the interim government in all her institutions. We will increase our efforts to seek and address all enemies, including those in the house working as agents against our goals. That's our God-ordained Ambazonian liberation struggle. All the genuine ARF on Ground Zero will have our attention, and we will be extending a hand of collaboration and sponsorship to any fighter on the ground who is fighting La République du Cameroon. We will do all we can do to make sure Ground Zero is hot again. Until all our enemies are defeated, we will not relent. Our biggest failures on Ground Zero and defense apparatus revolve around emergency improvisation, which is something we can no longer risk for our ARF. We are compelled to create a Supreme Liberation Council with the commanders ANSA and counties representation. In the council, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, upon the fundraising which I will now embark upon. Fellow Ambazonians, we are at a critical point in our liberation struggle, which requires every single conscientious Ambazonian citizen to renew their pledge to sacrifice, serve, and save the lives of our suffering brothers and sisters on Ground Zero and Ground One. Your IG will therefore be launching, starting now, the Ambazonian Restoration Fee, ARF. Why ARF, you may ask? Because the IG recalibration for Ground Zero prioritizes on getting 90% of the funds raised in the diaspora directly to the executors, being the ARF. Because, in respect of our common goal to free homeland and the distinct but complementary roles between Ground Zero and the diaspora in the prosecution of this liberation struggle, Ground Zero is proudly tagged as the force, hence AR forces, whilst the diaspora will honorably commit economically to fuel the force, hence ARF for fee. Your ARF subscription will automatically and proudly crown you as a diaspora soldier. Your annual subscription will be verifiable evidence of your stake for our ARF. Hence, our collective commitment slogan for the Ambazonian Restoration Fee will be Diaspora ARF. Subscription to fuel Ground Zero ARF empowerment. The subscription modalities for the annual Ambazonia Restoration Fee commitment for all Ambazonian citizens will be presented in our next APP meeting, our next Amber Peace Plan meeting. Considering the need for immediate engagement in reinvigorating firepower on the ground, I am therefore counting on you launching the Ambazonia Restoration Fee kickstart the subscription challenge by requesting for the enrollment of at least 1,000 selfless Ambazonian liberators who will be committing to sacrifice a minimum of $200 before the end of March 2022 in order to guarantee for the minimum kickstart budget required to empower modern farming in Ambazonia through the acquisition of at least one Magnum pipeline for irrigation in all our 13 counties. Let your Ambazonian Restoration Fee subscription walk the talks. 90% of our ARF and 10 for the victims of the genocide war from today. Let the Ambazonian restoration fee kick up subscription challenge begin now. Together we can, together we will, together we must free homeland. I pledge my unflinching loyalty to the cause. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Long live the people of Ambazonia. Short live the Ambazonian independence restoration liberation struggle. In God we trust.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That was the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Marianta'S, addressing the people of Ambazonia for the first time, having been sworn in about 3 weeks ago. She said a lot, enumerated a lot of things that she hoped to achieve, she said, within 6 months. But even if she cannot achieve them within 6 months, she is laying the foundation of what happens from whosoever takes over from them after 6 months. It was a long list of things that can be achieved beginning tomorrow. She talked about, she thanked the Ambazonia restoration fighters. She also talked about the need for us to moderate our speech, referring to particularly the activists, the need to moderate our speech on the social media. She also calls for every Ambazonian out there, no matter the camp in which you belong, to support her, to stand with her. And she was very particular about the need for firepower. And she did mention the fact that addressing La République du Cameroon directly, she said, ladies and gentlemen, there will be no room for half solutions, no room for Ambazonia to accept any half solutions, be it from La République du Cameroon or from the international community. She's totally rejected that now, referring to people who think that some kind of federalism or some kind of living together arrangement can still work between the southern Cameroons and Ambazonia. She made it clear, ladies and gentlemen, as many of us have emphasized here again and again and again, there are no rooms for half solutions, half measures coming from La République du Cameroon. Now she insisted on the need for firepower to resume on ground zero. And that is the secret, ladies and gentlemen, to victory in this war. Many people think that, diplomacy, one country recognizes us we are done. 2 countries recognizes us, we are done. 10 countries recognize us. Great thing, ladies and gentlemen, but that will still not give us a restored Ambazonia, a free Ambazonia. The only thing that will give us a free Ambazonia, and she was on point about that, ladies and gentlemen, is pummeling La République du Cameroon, bringing down their institutions, bringing down their economy, destroying every vestiges of La République du Cameroon still left in Ambazonia. All these things so-called PWD Bamenda. Ladies and gentlemen, she says these things should not be there. Every French Cameroon company living or interested in Ambazonia, she says it should not be there. It was a long list, and I want to believe that all of you got the message. If you are out there and you are wondering, ladies and gentlemen, whether or not you should join your hands with us, let us stand behind this strong woman and push her to the success she deserves. Please, please consider giving her a chance. Again, consider giving her a chance. That is, assuming you belong to some other camp and you are really wondering what next to do, you got an opportunity to stand behind this woman, give her the chance to see she can deliver what she promises to deliver. But again, of course, it is not all her job. It is hers and yours and me, all of us put together. She mentioned also one thing about the need for collaboration, working together. I want to believe that in the days ahead, she will be reaching out with some of us, every one of us here at the interim government, reaching out to every other group out there. Let us put our differences aside and come together and think of how we can work as one man, one power, representing one Ambazonia. That is something to take home with. And I hope that too, the other stakeholders of this struggle out there will see the need to take the hand, reach out to them. That is also one thing she said, ladies and gentlemen. Very critical, she made an appeal for support, financial support. And you know that it is necessary, because without financial support, we can talk about firepower 24 hours a day, 360 days in the year. Without the money, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot achieve that. She indicated, made mention of one thing that we are detesting in the Sako administration. The idea that funds are raised and they end up in Sako's pocket and his Bitcoiner's pocket. She said 90% of all the funds raised under her presidency will go to where it belongs, that is ground zero. The fighters who are putting their lives on the line, defending Ambazonia and trying to free Ambazonia, she said 90% of the funds we go, ladies and gentlemen, we go to those fighters on the ground. We're going to take time to kind of digest and piece out, ladies and gentlemen. This speech was about 40 minutes, a little over 40 minutes long. Of course, so many things said within those 40 minutes. I cannot bring all of them to you right now, but throughout the week and the days and the months ahead, we're still gonna be talking about it. Now at that moment, comparing it with the action, as some people have said. You don't weigh a leader from her speeches or his speeches. Sako made a lot of speeches. Sisiko made a lot of good speeches. But we need much more than speeches, ladies and gentlemen. We need much more than speeches. All we need now is action. 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 From the Mongol to Nkambe, action is what people want to see on the ground. I also love her appeal for civility and security to return on the ground. The Ambazonia restoration fighters to be self-conscious of the need for security for our own people. All talking about these kidnappings and ransom takings, harassment, and so on. She said, going forward, let security and civility return on ground zero. It is only with that, when there is tranquility, there is security, that we can focus on the common enemy, La République du Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am still joined by Comfort, who is joining me from London. Comfort, I believe you sat there throughout the speech and you were able to take home something. Tell us what you took home from Madam President's presentation today.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Secretary Chris. Thank you once again, fellow Ambazonians. I mean, the speech was heavily loaded. I was just like nodding and nodding and nodding, right? So it's just you see, let me begin from something people may think is very trivial, Secretary Chris. Just that moment she took a minute of silence, a clock was ticking at the back, right? And this noise kind of painted an atmosphere in my own life like the solemn celebration of our fallen heroes, that moment of mourning, that clock, it meant a lot. And what does this mean to me and to Ambazonians? This means that the spirit of Ambazonians that have gone prematurely because of this war will never lay to rest if we don't make it home. That is how serious it is. I don't know, for some reason that brought a lot. I was like, this is so much information. This is a whole powerful message. So it is not a joke when the president stands here and talks and asks and seeks already financial support, because it is all about money, and
It's
that
all
is where
about
we are
money,
going
right?
to.
It's all about
Yes,
money.
It's all about money, because without money, we are going nowhere. Without money, we will talk and talk, like you said, Secretary Chris, and will remain here. And I appreciate the fact that she makes it clear to Ambazonians that APP remains the stronghold. The APP that you and I were witness, Secretary Chris, in Berlin, that we together built and put there to be the stronghold of this IG, or this government, remains there. It's not like we have formed any new government. We have not formed anything. That is why our LGAs and everything are being reconstituted. We have taken over some of our stuff from the defunct government and so on. So it is the same government that we have had. Leadership has changed hands, power has changed hands, and we are moving on. That was good, so that our people should know, not the narrative that is going on out there. I am happy when she calls on Ambazonians to get a job. Go get a job. And this boils down again to money. Go get a job, because these people, our Ambazonia restoration forces, they're already at work and they're waiting for you and I to do the job. And I like the fact that, she says she is making sure she gets in touch with ground zero and ground one. That connect, that diaspora ground zero, ground one connect is something that was totally lacking in the defunct government. We would sit here and make noise and make noise and make noise, but there was a huge disconnect between our people on the ground and the former government, who sought a lot of loyalty to self and not to people. So when we hear the president say we should do this and we connect with all of these people, that is the best place to begin. Calling the restoration forces, especially the field marshals, doing the good job on a cafe day, or calling them by name, that is a giant step to that reconnection. When you just see, you are not expecting, and the president shouts, gives you a shout out, that means a lot, Secretary Chris. And that is the way to go, Ambazonians. We just thank the president because it was a wonderful speech, and I think that we are going to get there, So I'm happy that finally we have come to that point where leadership knows that we are at war and we don't have time to talk. The president says, together we shall do it. And we are going to transform the speech making and the preaching and offertory collection into action. In the former leadership, the president would say, let me educate you. The present president says, let us put heads together and think really fast and go to work. Let's
I
go
think
to work, get a
she
job.
actually had, Madam President actually had a very good memory of the former president saying, let me educate you. I mean, there were
Oh, yeah.
cabinet meetings where he literally preached the Bible
Yes, you
and
see and listen.
preaching
Yes.
it to
Yes.
support illegitimate positions that he took. When you want to again, the idea that this guy who have been dealing with a con person all along, I mean, you go into a cabinet meeting and instead of persuading you with the facts of a situation, of a problem, you bring
Yes.
the Bible. I remember going into
Oh,
one
yeah.
of those meetings and actually he was trying to persuade everybody that Secretary Chris is wrong. Is wrong. He preached for 1 hour and it was all about anger management, quoted the Bible.
I know.
Unfortunately for him, people like Marienta, now the president, were in there to challenge him and say, Mr. President,
Yes.
we're not kids in here. We know the Bible. We know what it says. Please solve the problems. Confront
Exactly.
the problems. Go on, please.
Senator Chris, listen, you know that I have been the president, the mouthpiece of the president.
Oh, yeah,
I've
the
worked in that
press
office
secretary,
twice,
I
right?
guess.
Yes. And this press secretary happens to be someone the president doesn't talk to. Because when you come in meetings and you ask a question, Mr. President says, if this litigation doesn't stop, I am leaving the next minute. And so the next minute comes, you want to go talk to your boss, you have been blocked. You can't talk to the boss because you dared question him in public and stuff like that. So these times have gone. I don't know why we are dwelling on this, but then we need to let our people know that this is where we were and we know now where we are going to. It is a leadership where we can dialogue, where we can question. Marienta is my friend. Marienta is my sister. I'm sorry, guys, forgive me. I'm still learning to call her president, but she is my president, right? But she knows that I will not let her get away with it if I am not clear. You go to meetings in the defunct government, you want to ask a question, the security guards that are surrounding him, they say, before you finish the question, they say, comfort, that question cannot be answered now. I say it needs to be answered because this is Ambazonia and we need to know. Secretary Chris, gone are those days. We are looking forward to the president who says we shall do it. We will think about it. We will agree on it, and we will act. 90% we are sending home. We no longer have the president who will educate us because at least class 7 we don't get, and with that one be enough. We just want to move on. So I think the president did well. She said a lot. Like you said, it needs time to dissect and infuse this into our systems step by step, bit by bit. I think that's the way to go, Secretary Chris.
Yes, one more point before we call this off and hand over to Mike Fusi, who is coming up with a new panel. When this struggle started, I have been there. This government started, I have been there from day number 1. I remember when Sisiko started this, we had meetings upon meetings. I never for once heard Sisiko come into a meeting and say, this is what I have decided to do, or this is what I want to do. Everything he did was consultative, very, very consultative. Every action, every decision, every project was put on table, debated. And the idea was not to reject it. The idea was to refine it and make it more successful. Come to Sako, I would say about a year after or so, he began to come to cabinet to say, you know what, this is what I have decided. This is what I want to do. If he doesn't do that, he went and signed one of those so-called executive orders in a country that doesn't exist yet. Executive orders in a country that doesn't have a law card. The guy, this thing climbed onto his head, and he thought he was already in Boya. One of the reasons why he will not collaborate with anybody, not even within the ARC team. This guy stayed away because he thought he could stay out, just tell you what has to be done, just dictate what has to be done. Unfortunately, he was working with men like us who don't just think that is correct. But I'm saying this to say that for the past 3 weeks that Madam President has been in charge, you see effort to put stuff on the table and get it debated and refined. You've seen the effort to put a cabinet together, taking it to the recalibration forum call meetings where everybody had an input. Of course, I will not go that way. But of course, that is her style.
Yes.
You look at her
Senator
speech.
Chris.
Yes.
Yes, I know. I'm cutting you short because I know you are handing over to Mike, and I'm not sure whether Mike is taking me on, but I just want to pick on something that blew me off my seat finally to plot a coup, right? Because I'm a coup plotter. Actually, we plotted a coup. Was when one of the last things that got me off my seat when I could not hold it again was when it was messy and smelling on social media when the whole thing was out there, people saying a lot of terrible things and so on and so forth. And in this meeting, party asked the president, social media is not looking good, and the things that they are saying, it needs that you should address them. There are things that need to be put right now because it's not working well. And what does he do? You say there's no need to address the social media. You should rather come to me. Let me teach you what to go and say when you hear them say those things or do those write those things. And he finally trains a parrot that is running the mouth 24 hours round the clock on ABC Amber TV. Things like that are history. But we need to know that these are things that happened. Because why am I bringing this up? He has been from day one. Me too, I've been in his government from the first day I was your first Under Secretary of Communications, right? He has been that person who never cares, right? If he doesn't listen to people, he doesn't solve problems, he doesn't pay attention to problems, what he will say is, if you appoint someone to be loyal to you, at the moment you see that they're dangling and they're swaying, you just ignore them. They finally find themselves that they are redundant and they leave. That has always been the case. Millions of people have quit this government just by way of them being ignored because they were not loyal to the commander-in-chief, and they left. In another way, they trick you. You say one or two things, they spit you out of the place. Today is a new dawn. Ambazonia is moving on. But we need to know some of these things. It's not a waste of time. After this, I hope we don't come back to this because we don't have time to spend on such. But people need to have an idea that it was not a good thing. So that's it. I think we are moving on. We are looking forward now.
Okay, thank you, Mal Comfort, and we are going to call it here, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can hand it to Mike Fusi, who is waiting in the background. Unfortunately, we've got to stop this broadcast before we can bring them back on in a different segment. But I'd like to thank you for staying put and listening to our new president address us. For the first time, ladies and gentlemen, she has laid out the way forward, and I really wish to appeal to each and every one of you out there. Let us support her. Let us stand with her. Let us make sure that she gets all that she needs from every one of us independentists. The overwhelming, let me say something that I forgot to mention, ladies and gentlemen. In spite of everything this struggle has been through, and the interim government that prosecutes the struggle has been through, one thing remains very, very amazing. Very, very amazing. And I am talking about the will of the overwhelming majority of Ambazonians to say, we're not going anywhere. We're not surrendering. We're not giving up. We're not walking away. I have received calls upon calls, messages upon messages from Ground Zero, people saying, please, you people hold on to this thing. We are not giving up. We are not surrendering. If we give up, where do we move to? Where do we go to? Who do we turn to? In spite of everything we have been through, the overwhelming majority of Ambazonians sit out there saying there is no turning back. Ladies and gentlemen, may this be the hour, the moment of the reinvigoration. When we get back to where we were 5 years ago, talking about collectivity, unity, collaboration, financial donations, please let us do it again. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. Again, Mike Fusi and the new panel will be right up after this. God bless you and good night.
Have you been thinking of a career in IT? DevOps engineering is the course for you. CS Academy is offering a 6-week DevOps engineering course that will prepare you for a lucrative job in the IT field. Do you know that an entry-level DevOps pay starts from $90,000 to 6 figures? And the good thing is that you don't need any degree to enroll for the course. Enroll today. Training starts on Friday, March 25th, 2022, and admission is going on right now. Log on to csacademy.us to learn more. Contact us at 832-387-1460.
Our classes are live online, interactive, and instructor guided. Training holds only 2 times a week, Friday and Saturday evenings. Sign up today to secure your seat, or call now and talk to us.
Again, the number is 832-387-1460. Have you been thinking of a career in IT? DevOps engineering is the course for you. CS Academy is offering a 6-week DevOps engineering course that will prepare you for a lucrative job in the IT field. Do you know that an entry-level DevOps pay starts from $90,000 to 6 figures? And the good thing is that you don't need any degree to enroll for the course. Enroll today. Training starts on Friday, March 25th, 2022, and admission is going on right now. Log on to csacademy.us to learn more. Contact us at 832-387-1460.
Our classes are live online, interactive, and instructor guided. Training holds only 2 times a week, Friday and Saturday evenings. Sign up today to secure your seat, or call now and talk to us.
Again, the number is 832-387-1460.